Hello everyone, good evening. We're going to start by 4:10. We're just waiting for more people to join.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, since more people have joined, we're just going to start the class. Give me a minute. Okay, so everybody, welcome to the third leadership class. This is the third one. The first one was on fundamentals of leadership. The second was on emotional intelligence. And this will be the third. I am your instructor for today. My name is Farida Ojibara, a graduate from the Department of Finance, University of Ilorin. So today I'm going to be taking you on communication and public speaking. The objective of this module is to understand effective verbal and non-verbal communication while also improving your public speaking skills. All of you at different points in your life, you're going to be put in scenarios where you're going to have to speak in public, where you're going to have to communicate a message to your audience and try your hardest to make them understand the information you're trying to pass. Because I remember the times when I had to speak in public. I'm just going to share one experience. I was in final year where I had to present my proposal, and I needed to talk to my supervisor and tell her why I was presenting that topic, why that was the topic I needed to do for my final year project. And I remember that the last experience I had of presenting was I was crying. It was really embarrassing. So this time around, I've made up my mind like, no, I'm going to really ace it. I'm going to build confidence in myself and I'm going to try my hardest to talk. So I remember standing in front of her and trying to talk, and then I was just shaking, but I was able to end up communicating. So at different points in your lives, you're going to have to communicate, you're going to have to speak in public. Now, other factors and what leadership entails. But let me add this. Leadership is being in service of the people. It is guiding and influencing people towards a common goal. It involves motivation, collaboration, and sound decision making, in that it is a state of mind, a set of characteristics and actions that motivates people and inspires collaboration that promotes sound decisions. So for me, I can say that, okay, leadership has to do with, you have to have some qualities, you have to have some characteristics that would motivate people, that would inspire them to want to work together. And this would, once people are able to work together, once people are able to come together for a common goal, they will be able to make sound decisions. So your job as a leader is to be able to motivate people and to inspire them to make sound decisions. Now, for example, a president is a leader. He is in service of the people. He should be working on how to effectively make use of resources and people around him to make the socio-economic status of the country good. He's the president of the country. Of course, he's supposed to be looking out for the people. Whatever decisions he makes, is to think of it and the point of view like, how is this going to impact the people that in this country? How is this going to impact the citizens of the country? A boss or CEO at work is also a leader. He needs to create an environment that is suitable for him and his employees. Because by doing this, it's going to boost overall work. Emotional intelligence, communication, time management, and so on are all ingredients a good leadership process. You can't have one without the other. And as a leader, you deal with different characters, you deal with different personalities, and you have to make sure you do not lose sight of the end goal for the people and the people for the end goal. By this, what I mean is when you have an end goal and then you need to work with a set of people, do not lose sight that, okay, just because I want to get to this end goal, I'm not going to really care about the people. Just going to push ourselves to get to the end goal. Or so that you're focused on the people and not the end goal. You need to be able to balance these two together. Now, from this slide, you can see there are different, should I call them characteristics? There are different characteristics that a leader should possess. A good leader is someone with vision. That is, the person has a desired outcome or future that the person is working towards. Intuition, being able to make the right call based on a gut feeling and not always logics and data. Sometimes you might not even have the data, sometimes you might not have the logics, but there is that gut feeling that, oh, I'm right. And I know this is the right way. Confidence, having the courage to stand firm and having the compassion to listen to others. That's what confidence is about. You have to, because there will be times where you are going to have to stand on your own. I need to be able to stand firm and like, I'm confident in myself. I'm standing here to you as me, myself, and I. Creativity. The ability to come up with actionable ideas and ability to inspire others. You have to also be able to think outside the box, think away from the norms. When you're presented with a problem, you have to be able to think of different solutions to that problem. And there is positive attitude. That is fostering a motivating and optimistic environment. You'll be thrown into different situations, and you have to have a positive attitude. You have to have a positive mindset when working with people, because you'll be dealing with different people, and there'll be times where you'll be dealing with people and their outlook to that situation they might be pessimistic. But as a leader, you have to keep that positive attitude in mind. And so many other qualities. There are so many different other qualities. But today I'm going to be speaking on communication. Now, for everyone, I don't know if you guys did any like social studies and then we're teaching. I think it's for social studies. I don't think it's computer. But like primary school, secondary school, they'll be like, oh, what is communication? And then you're going to say, oh, communication is the process of conveying information through various means, writing, speaking, between sender and receiver. That was just the straight definition we had, right? Now, what we did not say was that factors like environment and emotions have a huge impact on how effective your communication is. And communication is essential for human interaction. Now, I want to be sure I'm not talking too fast. I think I'm still okay. Let me know if I'm talking too fast so that I would dial back down and I would slow down. But if this is fine, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, thank you very much. Now, effective leadership communication goes beyond words. It's about connecting, understanding, and building trust through clarity and empathetic listening. As you can see, there are some keywords here. You have to, when communicating as a leader, you have to be able to to connect with the person you're communicating with. You have to be able to understand the person's position and the person will understand you. You have to build trust with the person. And to do this, it has to be through clarity and empathetic listening.
Hello everyone. I should be joining shortly. We're experiencing network issues.
Sorry for that, my network went off for a bit. I think we're good so far, right? So I'm going to move on to types of communication. Now we have various types of communication based on verbal communication and non-verbal communication. By verbal communication, you are talking about speeches, we're talking about phone calls, emails, reports, conversations, and currently, even as I'm presenting, as I'm sort of lecturing, this is also a form of verbal communication. Now, on the non-verbal side, we have eye contact, posture, facial expression, and tone of voice. Now, I think some of you have done projects, proposal defense. I think proposal is before when you're going to present your topic, where you're going to, before the first two chapters, I can't remember. But anyway, for those of you that have done your proposal defense, I just want you to take a minute to share what it felt like. Just say in the comments what your experience was like before going in and by the time you were leaving, once you were done with the defense. We're going to take 2 minutes for people to share their experience so that we can all see the different experiences that everyone went through. So from that, what I wanted to get was that when you were presenting, you were nervous, right? You just wanted to get it over with. Like you were likely praying that they understood what you were presenting. In that you had an idea in your head that you hoped they saw from your point of view. You hoped you were able to communicate what it was that you wanted to say. Now think of this. How was the posture of the judges? How was their facial expression, their tone of voice? Because from looking at them, you would know that they were communicating a bit with their body language. On their face, were they bored or were they interested? Or you could see that readiness, like, oh, they're ready to drill you with questions. So that you can see, yeah, the non-verbal communication. Now we're going to go to the importance of communication. Communication as from every angle, wherever you are, you're always going to have to communicate. And here are the importance of the communication. One, helps in building and maintaining relationships. Two, it promotes understanding and empathy. Three, it's used for conflict resolution. In that, even though communication could cause conflict, also the one that can solve conflict. Effective communication is what can solve conflicts. And then it promotes collaboration and teamwork. It also enhances productivity and efficiency, which goes hand in hand actually. Because then you have once there's collaboration, once the team is able to effectively work together, the productivity, the efficiency level is going to go up. And lastly, it encourages strong customer relations. Now I have one actual assignment that I'm going to wait. You guys have to answer this one. So usually there's something that you hear about that has to do with communication. Just 4 words. It's a phrase. I'm going to wait for you guys to actually tell me what that phrase is like. 4 words. You hear it often. often used. So let me take 2 minutes to wait for you guys to think of that phrase. 4 words. It starts with communication. Communication is one of the words. I'll give you an hint, so guess away, please. Okay, so my question was that there is a phrase people usually say, and it starts with communication. 4 words. So someone says communication leads to innovation. That's not the phrase I'm looking for. And then somebody has said it's communication is the key. Communication mode. 4 words, I read 4 words, but Oluwamayokun has gotten it. Communication is the key, and also Gift Eke has gotten it. So yes, communication is the key. That is something you hear often. People usually use it easily. But let me add another. Actions speak louder than words. Communication requires action from every party involved. It's one thing to listen to what is said. It is another to actually try to understand the position of the person talking, to understand the message the person is trying to pass, or also to understand the position of the person being communicated to. Now, usually the challenges faced during communication is in different shades, spanning from, but definitely not limited to, someone who struggles with articulating their thoughts, someone who finds it hard by someone who has struggled to articulate their thoughts. I mean, someone who finds it hard to say what is on their mind. They don't know how to, they have what they want in their head, but they don't know how to say what they want. And number two, someone who doesn't care about the next person and just says whatever. There are people that they're like, they are very blunt. But I always say the truth, or I say what's on my mind, but so that they don't care about the person receiving that information. And third, we have someone who makes assumptions and expects their mind to be read. Now let me give you a scenario. So let's say I tell someone, please get me water. I've communicated, okay, I want water. But then the person comes with a bottle of water. And all of a sudden I flare up and I'm like, no, I don't want a bottle of water. I should have gotten me a glass of water. Who do you think is at fault for that? Be the judge. Who do you think should have done better? Yes, a lot of you got that was communication is the key. So from my example, you're going to see that I'm the one at fault. I did not communicate that I wanted a bottle of water. I only said I wanted water. Water can come in different shades. It could be bottle, it could be glass, half full, half empty. but I should have communicated what exactly it was that I wanted. Now, we have people who do not communicate when they're in a leading situation because maybe they are afraid of being hated, disagreed with, or made fun of. There's also the one-track minded person who does not care how their message or information is received. They don't care if they're disagreed with or made fun of, and that can be a double-edged sword in the sense that when you don't care about the other person's opinion or feelings, when you don't care about the person's opinion or feelings, you end up saying or doing things that will hurt the person. Now, Joseph Gurney, a New York Times best-selling author, co-founder of Vital Smart, said, and I quote, "If you don't talk it out, you'll act it out." This means that when lack of proper communication accumulates, people end up acting out on their negative emotions. That's like suicide. Let's look at the example I gave with water. Not exactly a good example, but in that I was getting offended that the person didn't give me just a glass of water, the person gave me bottled water. And that was due to lack of proper communication or not. So there will be situations where lack of communication accumulates over time when there is no communication, little to no communication. Over time, it's going to build up and people are going to act out on it. My second is in a TED talk, Marcus Alexander, an hip hop artist and actor, started by saying this: when communicating, when passing on information, you have to make sure that the person you are communicating to understands the information and is able to effectively relay that same information to a third party. It is your job to make sure that happens. He pointed out how ineffective communication leads to misunderstanding and an eventual loss of relationship, so that assumptions get made. Now, I don't know if you've gotten my point yet, but I'll say it simply. When you are communicating, you have to take into account your opinion and feelings, and also take into account the opinion and feelings of the person you are communicating to or with. Will that be easy? No, that is communication is usually hard. But is it necessary? I'll leave that to your discretion. Now, I did a course with Mackenzie Forward program. I think they have one running currently. They had different modules. They had different sections. They were talking on different topics. But my all-time favorite was the communication aspect because no matter where you find yourself, how you communicate has an impact on you and the people around you. Now, the Mackenzie Forward program emphasized an EPIC framework, which stands for empathy, purpose, insight, and conversation. And empathy is putting yourself in the other person's shoes to understand their perspective. Purpose is understanding why or understanding the driving force of the other person. This thing that they want to do, why do they want to do it? Or explaining why you want to do something. Insight means to explain or articulate your ideas in a clear and compelling way. While conversation means to plan and orchestrate the flow of an effective two-way conversation. That is, when you are having a conversation or you're in a meeting, let your audience feel comfortable talking and listening to you. You need to go straight to the point to keep yourselves on track on the purpose of that meeting or on the purpose of that conversation. Are we going well so far? Okay, let me check the comments to be sure that everybody's on track. All right, thank you. So there are seven C's of communication. We're going to take each of them. So one is clarity. Keep it simple and easy to understand so that a leader should articulate their messages with enough context and specificity so that there is no room for confusion or misinterpretation. You need to make sure that they understand what you are talking about. Two, conciseness. Be brief and straight to the point. Effective leaders know how to communicate their points in a clear way and go straight to the point, which not only saves time, but it also keeps the attention of the audience. Once you are deviating from the purpose of the conversation or the purpose of the communication, the person's attention span is already gone. So you need to be concise. Three, we have coherence. Ensure a logical flow of ideas, that is, the flow of words, sentences, and ideas should. The flow of words, sentences, and ideas should be smooth so that it will be easy for your audience to follow along and for them to understand your message freely. Then consistency. You need to align your words with actions and past messages. They need to be able to see that you're going to stay true to what you're talking about, and what you're talking about has to follow the same pattern, not that you're picking from different directions. I don't know if you get what I mean. Then consideration, you have to think of your audience's needs. You have to put yourself in the position of your audience. How are they perceiving the information you're trying to pass? Then concreteness. Add specific details for clarity. That is, you need to use concrete facts and data to help solidify and clarify your points. This would make what you're communicating, to make the information you're communicating, to make it more real and more relatable. They would be able to imagine, to see what you're trying to project to them. And lastly, we have courtesy. That is, maintain a polite and respectful tone. Now, in communication, courtesy involves being aware of and also being respectful of the audience. This includes using polite language. You need to talk in a way that you want to be spoken to. You need to talk very politely and show that you respect your audience's feelings and their viewpoints. You need to consider their desires and their potential feedbacks. Now I'm going to wait 2 minutes to let that all sink in so that I'm not just running through. So what to keep in mind when you're communicating? When you're having a meeting or you're having a conversation with someone where the person is speaking, you need to first listen. Let the person talk. Try your hardest to not interrupt them or get defensive depending on the context of the conversation. Listen. Work on your listening skills so that you do not interrupt whenever a person is talking. Let them say what they want to say. And when the person is talking, recount what they said to show that you heard what they're saying. You can start with saying, "Oh, if I heard you correctly, you said," or "From what you just said, what I got was that," and then recount what it was you heard the person say. This will make the person feel seen and heard. The person will be like, "Oh, yes, I'm definitely able to communicate. You are listening to what I'm talking about." Now you need to talk in the politest way you can to put the person at ease. And I'm making emphasis on politeness, but it's really, really important. You also need to maintain that composure all through the meeting and all through the conversation. Work on your facial expressions also, so they are not frowning or you're pressing your phone when someone is trying to communicate with you. And as a leader, they need you to be able to listen to what they say. Your subordinates, people under you, your employees, your staffs, the citizens of the country, they need to know that they can talk to you and you're going to listen to them without being defensive or without being criticizing. Or even when you're criticizing, you need to be able to modify your criticism such that you're able to be kind and polite. Now, lastly, we're going to, not lastly possible, we are going to public speaking. Now, as the name suggests, it is speaking in public. It's a situation where you need to address a team or a crowd. It is a situation where you're trying to pass on a message or share information. Not everyone you see talking eloquently is actually confident. Most people put on the facade when the lights come on. It's like a clothes that comes on for some people whenever they walk onto the stage, and then they would like an actor playing a part, playing a role. But you need to be confident enough to play that role. Now, public speaking requires effective communication, and a good leader must be good at that. According to Forbes.com, here are a few strategies to get better at public speaking as a leader. And as a leader, you need to keep learning, you need to keep trying your hardest to be better, and you need to keep upskilling on your different soft skills, not even just your technical skills. So first of all, you need to read the room. Monitor the audience's cues, their non-verbal cues. Do they look attentive or do they look bored? Do they look confused? Like, can you see if they understand what exactly it is you're trying to say? Or are they looking at their phones? I know some of us have a bad habit of staring at our phones when somebody's presenting something. But it could also be due to boredom or they do not understand what you are saying. And when you pick up on all these cues, you need to modify your content and the way you're presenting. It could be that you're just standing on one position and you're talking. In that way, you're not able to grab the person's attention. Sometimes you need to move around the room if you're presenting in public to an audience and you're standing on a stage. You need to move around the room a little bit to get their attention on you. But once you're just stationary, the attention span tends to just go away. Now to slow down, which I hope I'm doing actually. So one thing that makes a huge difference is the quality of your presentation and the engagement with the audience. So you need to slow down. So that if I go, often presenters are ready to get through their materials or try not to look nervous, which causes them to miss opportunities to make an impact. I spoke way too fast. And you likely did not hear what I said, or you were not able to pick out what exactly the message I was trying to pass was. So I was saying that often presenters try to get through their materials in order to not look nervous. Like I could be really nervous and then I just want to say everything that I have in my head to get it done and leave. But you need to slow down. You need to make them listen. You need to make them hear what you're talking about. Now focus on your delivery. That's the third one. Your delivery is more important than your content. It could be your content could be a masterpiece, but if you're not able to deliver it and invite Okay, so I took a dramatic pause there. So next. Now we have three people here, three popular people. And I'm going to need you all to guess who these three people are. And if you're able to guess what they are known for, also add that. So let's all take a minute to look at these faces and say who exactly is who. Somebody said Steve Jobs. Are you sure? Are you sure it's Steve Jobs? Okay. Somebody said Martin Luther King. Somebody said Chimamanda Adichie. Mm. Are you guys sure that's the person that those are the people? Anyway, they're right. This is Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. In the middle is Chimamanda Adichie. She's known for her books. She's an author and a female activist also. I don't know if you know her book, Purple Hibiscus. I remember reading that when I was young. When I was younger, young. So, and then lastly, we have Martin Luther King, was known for who was known for, I'm also going to say four words that we said often, that he said in a speech that plays in our heads whenever you think, oh, Martin Luther King. And so we're going to take each of them as a case study and we're going to analyze how they spoke in each of their speeches. So case one, we have Steve Jobs. In the Stanford commencement, he made an address, he made a speech. So in 2005, Steve Jobs, sorry, co-founder of Apple, delivered a commencement address at Stanford University. He needed to inspire and motivate a group of young graduates, while also sharing his personal stories and lessons to be learned. And here are our key takeaways for speech. One, storytelling. He used storytelling to convey his message, made it more relatable and more memorable. They were able to they were able to relate to maybe scenarios that he said he went through, past experiences. He was able to do that with his storytelling. Without passion, he was able to show his passion and enthusiasm. He was able to make them fall in love with what he was presenting to them, what he was talking about. And then simple language. He used simple, clear language and avoided any technical terms or jargons. Sometimes when you're trying to communicate, you don't need to use big words. You're trying to make the person understand, trying to make the person feel the emotions you want them to feel. So you have to use the language that they would understand. Something simple, something straightforward when you're talking. Our second case study, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, in her TED talk, Should All Be Feminists. In 2012, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, a Nigerian novelist and non-fiction writer, she delivered a TED talk on feminism. She had to address the complexities and nuances of feminism, but also inspiring and motivating our audience. So yeah, our key takeaways, our authenticity. She was genuine and authentic. She was able to share her personal experiences, something you could relate to. And she did that through storytelling, where she was so that storytelling, when someone is making a speech and then they say a story, there's a way that you would remember the story more than the other parts of the speech. So you need to use storytelling to convey your message and to make it more memorable. Now, clear message. Our message was clear and concise. It emphasized the importance of equality and justice, so that whenever anybody who was walking away from the TED talk, it was so that they understood that okay, she was fighting for equality, she wanted justice, and you could say, okay, this is exactly what she meant after our talk. And then we're going to the last person, Martin Luther King, in his I Have a Dream speech. Now, in 1963, Martin Luther King, a civil rights leader, delivered his iconic I have a dream, sorry, I have a dream speech during the March on Washington. Now, I don't, there are sometimes I get phrases and then just say, I have a dream, and we don't know who said it. For those that don't know, it's Martin Luther King. So King had to inspire and mobilize a massive audience, advocating for civil rights and racial equality. And here are our key takeaways from his speech. He showed he showed up as he showed visionary leadership. He presented a clear and compelling vision for a better future. And if you would remember in what we said in the beginning, that one of the characteristics of a leader should be that the leader has vision. And that was what he was able to show. Two, emotional connection. He established an emotional connection with the audience using storytelling and vivid imagery. And you can see that this is storytelling coming in again. Storytelling used to build an emotional connection with the audience, with the people you're talking to. And lastly, repetition. Sometimes people use key phrases to make you remember their speeches or when they spoke. And King's phrase was, I have a
Meeting is being recorded.
be answered. Then did someone else ask? Okay. So Deborah says, asks, what if one is speaking in public and suddenly has stage fright? Or he or she can't seem to find someone to focus on in the crowd to gain their confidence? What other ways can help out with the problem? Okay, so I remember when I started working here and then I needed to take the IT students on a software. I needed to explain to them. And honestly, I was very, very scared. Like I was dealing with people that were younger than me, but in my head, I was like, okay, I'm dealing with people. I don't know, I don't want to say something wrong. I don't know how to say it. And these are people that I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to expect. Like, and then when I got there, like I started whining to everybody else, like, oh, I have to do this. When I got there, you're definitely going to be nervous, especially people that have stage fright. Or you might be confident coming in, and then once you're there, your stage fright is going to come in. So what I'm saying is, if you remember, I said, don't stay on just one spot. Try to move around if you can. And if you can, try to engage the audience. And if that one is hard, you can also sort of chant words in your head to like call them self-affirmation, maybe. But so that you're telling yourself, okay, look, this is going to be over very soon. I just need to calm down. You can try a little bit of a breathing exercise as best as you can. But you're doing this all in your head while you keep speaking. And remember to take a pause. If you remember what we said, you need to also take a pause. You do not need to throw through everything so fast. So does that answer your question? Yes, definitely stage fright is going to come, and then you're not able to see someone to focus on in the crowd. You need to move around a little bit. Let the blood flow through your body. move around a little bit if you can, and just tell yourself you're not in a fight or flight situation. You're just talking to people. And if there's something someone tells you when you're in that situation, don't assume that they know everything. You're also bringing information that they likely do not know. So try not to be in a fight or flight situation. Try to convince yourself like I'm the one that I'm trying to give an information. I'm the one that I'm trying to pass on something. I'm the one that I'm trying to pass on something. And though sometimes the faces in the crowd might be judgy, but don't think just because some people can't control their expression. So have it in mind like, okay, maybe this person can't control their expression. Maybe that's why they do this kind of way. But don't stay on one spot. Move around a little bit. It's okay to enjoy the silence a little bit to gather your thoughts so that you don't stumble. So who asked the question? Well, I love through. So Miss Deborah, has your question been answered? Okay, so she says yes. That's good. So the attendance has been sent currently. We will need you all to fill the attendance. And if you're having any issues, let us know. Okay, someone says the page is not loading. Are you sure it's not your network? Try reloading it again. So I really suggest that you should use your Chrome or your Opera Mini. You guys should try that and check that your network is actually going well.
If you still have any questions, can just drop them in the chat or can you raise your hand? Do we have any other questions? So please let's keep filling the attendance. For those of us that are saying it's not loading, we should probably try another network. Most times, once your network is not strong, it won't load. So you have to use a network that is good. Then there will be major updates concerning the contents on the MacTech website. So subsequently, we'll be sending out assignments and quizzes on the MacTech platform. So we should check our platform starting from next week. So starting from next week, assignments and quizzes will be sent out. And then the resources will also be uploaded in the resource section on the MacTech platform. So we'll be updating the contents. So please, let's check as from next week. So I've resent the attendance form. Do we still have any questions? Any other questions? So please let's fill the form. So I said there will be major updates to the contents. So like the lessons we are taking, we will update the content just fits in the U-INSPIIRE curriculum, just for it to be well trained towards the U-INSPIIRE curriculum. So the content on the MarkTechie website will be updated. And also, you'll be able to see assignments, quizzes, and resources on your MarkTechie platform starting from next week. So do we all get that?
Okay, so we have an assignment for this section. But like he said, the assignments will be posted on the MarkTechie platform, and you're going to be able to, in a minute, you're going to be able to answer it on your MarkTechie platform. So the assignment is going to be, in a Word document, analyze the situation where a leader spoke. It could be a TED talk, it could be something that happened in school, it could be a presidential speech or something. Analyze it based on what you understand of communication and public speaking. Think in, did you enjoy what was spoken on? Did you understand it? And as an audience, were you motivated or inspired? So this your assignment, you're going to see the way we analyzed for Martin Luther King, the way we analyzed for Chimamanda, and the way we analyzed for Steve Jobs. So we'll talk about the context, and then we also talk about the context, and then we also talk about the key takeaways from their speeches. So you're going to pick someone, a leader that spoke, and you're going to, if you can add the link to the document, the link to the person's speech or the link to the person's talking, add that to the document, and you're going to be able to upload that document on MarkTechie. So further communications will be when you can upload it, but that is your assignment. So that will be all for today. Make sure you type into your attendance and see you again next week for those that are doing leadership. But there will be another class tomorrow for graphics designers. So see you then.
So thank you everyone for coming. So tomorrow there will be a session on graphics design, same time, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So let's make ourselves available for those of us taking graphics design. So for those of us still having issues onboarding on the MarkTechie platform, please tag the admin or any of the admins on the group, and it will be attended to. So there was a live session on Monday resolving onboarding issues. So please let's also check the information on various groups so that we don't miss out on those. Then you can also watch the recordings on our YouTube channel to see if your complaint or your situation is similar to some who have encountered these before. The deadline for the submission of the assignments will be communicated on the platform. So please let's fill the attendance. So let's fill the attendance. So if we have filled the attendance, we can leave.
The recording has stopped.
So see you guys next week. Have a good day.